So I guess we can just start the session and welcome everyone who watching and everyone on stage. For me, it's just such a deep honor to be inviting to conversation. When I got the list of these 9 women that was going to join, and I would say share their work and stories, women's Divine Feminine, thing in between, and I looked at the profiles of all you women, I was just like so humbled. So I think we're going to have a beautiful conversation here amongst us. I'm not gonna introduce you. I think that's something that yourself. There's so much capacity, so much I would say passion, and that it's not something that someone else capture and present. So I feel that you should really do that yourself. We're going to use about 2-3 minutes on that and just take the round. What I would like for you all to do is to introduce yourself, your work, your passion, but then also just a small sentence on what do you truly believe in, what is like closest to your heart and what you believe in this world. Could be anything, could be big or small, thing that kind of drives you. So I was thinking Daksha, if I pronounce your name right, if you wanted to start. I cannot see your face, so I'm kind of looking at your name here and wonder if you could unmute and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely.
And your work and what you believe in. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Daksha. I teach meditation. I coach people on how to trust themselves. I use a variety of tools from yoga and shamanic work and energy healing and color and oils to guide people, particularly women, along this path to self-trust. And I think, the thing I really want to share about what I believe in is the power of our bodies, like the power of our physical bodies to feel emotion and hold emotion. And I think the thing that lights me up every day or that keeps me going is just coming into presence with whatever I'm feeling. I remember this time when I was at a yoga teacher training, and the person leading it used this term that I wasn't familiar with called grantis. And he was saying that whenever something happens in life, it hits us like a wave of emotion. And if we don't feel it, it kind of gets turned into a little knot in our energy body. And then that knot festers and grows and settles until it is that you feel it. And then when you feel it, it kind of starts flowing. And I think there's such a beautiful alchemy to that. I also know a lot about honeybees. I did some work with shamanism and honeybees. I have a honeybee with me right here. And they are what set me on the path of, let me work with women. And that all the problems in the world today that I thought were science problems and environmental problems and people problems and communication problems and leadership problems, women, intuition, and the body. So that's a bit about me. Thank you, Ida, and thank you, everyone, for being here.
Thank you, Daksha. That is so beautiful. And yeah, honeybee and the queen bee, that's a system just amazing. One of my best friends, she's working with honeybees, and we have a lot from them. I wanted to move over to Lauren, if you would also take on the same kind of approach. Tell us a little bit about yourself and also what you believe in.
Thank you, Ida. Thank you, Daksha, for opening that up. My name is Lauren DeVera. I am a life coach, a certified positive psychology practitioner, a mindfulness and yoga teacher, and I'm the creator and founder of the Lion's Den. We're an inclusive community connecting through dance, wellness, self-expression, and anything fun. I'm also the podcast host of the Thrive and Thread show where we do guided meditations, and pretty soon I'll be interviewing BIPOC wellness practitioners and creative folks. So you may hear from me after this. Yeah, I grew up in a Christian home. Faith has been a part of my life since I can remember. And now as an adult, I'm like, wow, what a beautiful gift that I learned at a young age that life is more than just me, that there's more to this world than just the humans that we see. And yeah, I would say a very spiritual person, not only in my faith and what I believe in, but really believing that we were born for a purpose and that we were created for a purpose and with a purpose, and that we weren't just placed here to just do whatever. And I think all the women here can attest to that, that we have this innate gift that needs to be shared with the world, and that our story and our pain and our mess is our message. And that's something that I truly believe has the power to heal others. And I believe that that's what we do in our work. That's why we continue to show up, because entrepreneurship is hard. Creating your own lane is hard. And I truly believe that we're trailblazers. As a second generation mixed Filipino American woman, I can tell you that, you know, my parents are not, their pain is not in vain, that they really laid down the groundwork so that me and future generations can go do what we were called to do. And I believe my word was awakening, because a lot of us are still on autopilot. It's still living in response to what life has thrown at us, as opposed to making the decision to shift the path and to do new things. And so I hope that kind of answered the question, but I'm very passionate about this, and I'm completely honored to be here today.
Lauren, Ida is out of the room right now, so let me take over and pass it over to maybe Jersey. You want to talk? And she's
Thank
back.
you. Well, thank you. My name is Jersey Garcia, and I live in South sunny Florida. I'm a mom. I'm a single woman. Also a Black Latina, psychotherapist, and a lover of experiences and relationships. And I am trained as a relationship therapist. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. And I believe two things. I believe that the quality of our life is going to be measured by the quality of our relationships. And that is relationships to self, relationships to others, and relationships to our environment. I believe that we were put in this planet, in this experience, to be in relationship. And again, like I mentioned, relationship with self, relationship with others, and relationship with our environment. I solely believe that I am a spiritual being having a human experience, and I know that you probably have heard that a lot. So trying to see how I can have this experience and navigate and balance my spiritual self, because that's my essence, with my earthly self, with this human body that I was provided with to navigate this experience. And how lucky am I that I got the opportunity to experience it, but I get to make it joyful. I get to make it the best. I get to find the opportunities to learn and to grow with it as well. I wanted to conclude by saying, I didn't mention this at the beginning, but my biggest work and what I want to get to do is to continue to help women all around the world heal shame, release unfulfilling behavior patterns that keep them feeling stuck and miserable, and help them empower themselves to harmonize their relationships, their most important relationships. So thank you for having me here today. It's fantastic.
Jersey, and that not really, you know, how we view ourselves through relationships, and that we are always in relationship to others. Let's move down the line. Laura, with an A in the end, Would you like to also share a little bit about your work, your bio, your background, and what drives you or what you believe in?
Sure. My name is Laura Timbrook. I'm a national board certified health and wellness coach, and I actually host 2 weekly podcasts. The one is Outspoken Nutrition, and the other one is Manufacturing Wellness. Health and wellness is kind of my thing. I work in the manufacturing industry as a well-being strategist, and one of the reasons why I went into manufacturing is I was a corporate health and wellness speaker for almost 8 years. And when I would go to my manufacturing clients, the thing I would always hear is healthy wasn't for me. And, you know, when it comes to the root of who I am and what I care about, it's simplicity in health and wellness. I've seen so many times in the industry that healthy becomes an elitist thing, and you can't be healthy if you can't do this. And I'm out here to burn that box. Like, we are not playing that game. Everyone has the opportunities to be healthy. And if they don't, we need to work on fixing those opportunities so they can. And really, that's where I chose to focus, was in manufacturing, because I don't want people telling me healthy doesn't work for them because of the career they chose. And through my work, I've really been able to find that healthy really is simple. You know, Michael Pollan wrote that book, Food Rules, years ago. And it was just some simple rules on how to eat good food. And that's really what I kind of bring to the table and where my mission is. It's just about sharing and breaking down health and wellness in simple steps. And because I'm a health coach, I work with a lot of goal setting. So that's really where I focus on, is simplicity. And that was my word in the beginning of the session, because that's really where I think we kind of need to focus on. I know so many people that spend so much of their time trying to be perfect. And I know women, this is the perfect session for this, is we all try to do everything so perfect. And a lot of times we lose ourselves in trying to find that. So that's where my goal and mission is.
Love that. I think a little bit weird. I think it's actually something with the platform is losing a lot of energy and it's kind of reloading all the time. I think it's not possible to record this session because we're too many on stage at the same time. But let's just have a conversation here. And Laura, I love your making healthy and eating healthy accessible and easy, and not something that is like super complicated, but is accessible for everyone. Let's move down the line here. Ada, you've been helping me out a little bit messaging and also moderating here, so thank you so much for that. Would you also tell a little bit about yourself, your background, and also what you believe?
Yes, I would help you anywhere, anytime, any place, and you know that, so it's a pleasure. I am Eda Çarmıklı. I'm from Istanbul, Turkey. I am the co-founder of Joint Idea, a collaborative platform, LifeWorks Labs, a lifelong learning platform, and also Love Mafia, our social tribe. We also have a podcast called Love Mafia Lounge, where we voice anyone who is nurturing their feminine quality. I don't like discriminating women and men in that essence. I think we all have those qualities in us. So whoever nurtures that part of their being, we do host them in our platform. And also I have a blog called Believer in Life. So I think what I believe is obvious there. I believe in life. I believe in the high potential we carry as humans, which we have not, unfortunately, manifested yet as humans in totality, I feel. And I truly believe in utopia and that we can create that today. I'm very honored and grateful to be alive today, since our humanity is going through a huge path of change, and hopefully for the better for all of us. And I believe in that potential. So everything I do and voice is to make that possible for me to see within this lifetime, if possible. So thank you so much for this, Ida.
And I think that the reflection, the philosophical kind of essential for reflection and being able to reflect in utopia and using that as something that we can look forward to and strive for is super valuable, because it gives us an opportunity to open up and see possible and alternative realities and outcomes of this world that we are in right now. And as a leverage, even though many people are suffering and the whole world is shaken up by the pandemic, but there is also some opportunities in between us. We'd like to move on. I think someone needs to mute themselves. Let's figure out who that is. Yeah. I think, okay. So, so moving down the line, and correct me if I'm not saying this in the right way, your name in the right way, but Dr. Suchitra Dalvie. Would you also, Suchitra, please repeat your name so I know how to pronounce.
Not bad. It's Suchitra. It's a hard cho, CH. It's Suchitra. Yeah, but you're pretty close. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to. Thank you so much. It's really wonderful to be here on this platform, and I must actually thank the co-host of the podcast, Aparna, who's here with me. It was her idea to join this, and I'm really delighted because I'm just blown away by the amazing women that are here on the stage today. I am a practicing gynecologist based in Mumbai, India. But for the last 2 decades, I've been doing a lot of work around women's health and human rights. So the bulk of my work actually is on training and capacity building. I work with a lot of young people as well as healthcare providers, specifically in order to unpack the issues of gender and patriarchy, which affect women's rights and women's access, autonomy and agency. And I really liked what Ada said, because I do believe the same, that a lot of us have tremendous potential, which is unfortunately unrealized. And I hope to be the person who, I would have liked to meet when I was in my 20s. So I'm hoping to be that to the younger generation, to be a sort of a mentor and a guide and help them realize their potential. And that's kind of the most fulfilling thing for me, to engage with people who want to learn, who want to change, and who want to do better. Because there is one saying I'm very fond of, and some of you on this platform may be a similar age as mine, which says that young horses run fast, but old horses know the way. And now that I'm gradually moving from being a young horse to an old horse, I've decided to take over more of, showing the way than trying to run and do everything myself. So it's really wonderful to be here on this platform, and thank you so much.
Oh, that's so wonderful. And generational, it's so important. We are in a time where there is knowledge gap between, mainly some people are super tech savvy, some people not, and so on. And I think there is a gap in the because the world is changing so fast. There is a gap in knowledge, and bridging those gaps and learning from history, from culture, from everything that we create. It's extremely valuable, and learning how to do that, contextualize ourselves as human. Trinette.
I think that was you, Trinette, next.
I think so. So good morning, everyone. My name is Trinette Larva. I am in Florida. You can see.
If you wanted to take on, I'm not sure if you heard the last thing I was going to say here, but I was all of a sudden kicked out of the room and then came back, I hope. So Trinette, would you like to unmute yourself and tell us a little bit about your background and also what you believe in?
Yes, ma'am. I had gotten started, but I'll go ahead and start over. So I'm Trinette Larva. That's okay. I'm Trinette Larva from sunny South Florida, and I'm a registered nurse, but even more importantly, I am known, like I like to say, as the Curvy Fit RN. I am the founder of an organization called Curvy Fit Chicks, and I serve awesome, curvy, beautiful like the women behind you. I spell beautiful BOOTYFUL. And I help them to love their bodies and transform into disciplined athletes that gain the confidence they need to flaunt their curves unapologetically. And that is definitely very important to me. So Laura, I was, hooray when you were talking, because I certainly believe that we can be healthy at our size. And as a registered nurse, I'm very, very familiar with the BMI charts and societal standards and pressures on what healthy actually looks like. And I am here to crash those things, to cause paradigm shifts in the mindset of curvy, beautiful women who look like me, who carry all of the chunk and the dunky dunk, like we like to say, because you can be healthy and fit at your size. And so that is why we deem ourselves as curvy athletes. We work out and train 3 days a week. Honey, we are on the beach running and doing the doggone thing. And I am here to help other women understand that they can love themselves, and that loving themselves is in showing themselves that they're taking care of themselves, and they're showing up and appreciating what their body can do. And like Lauren also said, I truly believe that we are here for a purpose and on purpose. And I'm living out my purpose to help women to have good health, to heal and have hope while they are here, so that we can continue to heal nations. Thank you.
Wow, I love, divinity on all levels of the womanhood. I think we have, I got a list of speakers, but I think we have more people. So I just want to make sure that we have all, Aparna, and I think as well Claudia, and then who else? Annalyn, so why don't we take it in that order? Aparna, if you wanted to share your background and what you believe in, and then we'll move over to Claudia and Annalyn, and then and I hope I pronounce your names right. And what I'm actually going to do to see if I can get myself on a better network, because I keep logging in and not hearing people, and then so if we just start with that, I think this group of women are very self-sufficient. So if you can just pivot a little bit, that would be lovely.
Aparna, you are muted.
You need to unmute yourself, Aparna. I think I managed to do that now.
I think she dropped.
Or did I throw her out?
Yeah,
well, then maybe I threw her out. I tried to unmute her. Aparna, if you're in the audience, could you please try to come back? Because I think I actually threw you out because I tried to unmute you. So why don't we start with you, Claudia, and then we'll wait for Aparna to come back.
Yes, for sure. Thank you so much. My name is Claudia Sam. That's my first name, and I'm very happy to be here today. I'm right now in Eastern Canada, and I'm a soul coach. I support driven women who are used to being on the go and busy being their last name, and I help them to tune into their higher self, to really connect with why they're here. And we've spoken so much this morning about or at least that's what I heard at the beginning, about living life for other people's expectations of us, and where there is a higher purpose, there is a bigger reason why we are all here. And when we conform to rules and when we do it the way that everyone thought we needed to do it, life, then it becomes boring and we forget our own voice. So I created the tune-in method to help women confidently leap towards their purpose without feeling guilty for putting themselves on their to-do list, or without fearing other people's judgments. Because I used to be in a corporate job and I burnt out and I didn't listen to my body, a little bit like what Daksha was saying, the messages that our body is sending us on a daily basis is so important. And so the tune-in method really helps women connect with their body, their mind, their emotions, and then to why they're really here so that they can trust their decision-making, trust themselves, and make decisions they're happy with. So what I really believe in is connection with our higher purpose, connection with ourselves, with each other. But I feel like it resonates also with a little bit of what everyone has shared so far, connection to something bigger than us, to how we are not just this flesh and this body, but connection also to our purpose and to the ability to put ourselves as a priority and ditching the self-care guilt. That's what I believe in. Yeah. Thank you so much. I believe Annalyn was next.
All right. So wonderful to be here with all of you beautiful women. I'm here in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm a wife, a mother, a creator, connector, solution provider, a health advocate, world changer, faith walker. I'm also the founder and CEO of 1 in 9 Charities, Inc., on a mission to change the trajectory of kidney disease and save millions of lives around the world, and the founder of Shining Light Productions. And, you know, I love the conversations here too about purpose, because I think purpose is so important. And sometimes you can find your purpose through pain, which is actually what happened for me. My background was actually in IT sales. And so you may not think that would lead to me being a producer, director, and actually creating a documentary this month that was just released for the world. But it came out of a bigger purpose that came from pain 23 years ago when my husband's kidneys failed unexpectedly out of the blue. And what we've learned so much over these years is that he was one of those 90% of people that even today are walking around that have the 90% of people that have kidney disease walking around that don't even know it. And so we're really raising an alarm, sounding an alarm for that. And so my word that I chose at the beginning of this was empowerment, to be empowered for ourselves, to be our own biggest health advocates, and to advocate for others. Because as women, we're daughters, we're sisters, we're mothers, there's so many titles that we wear, right? But at the end of the day, we have to make sure that we are empowered, that we can stand strong, so that we can stand strong for others. And so I just love this beautiful panel from around the world. As we take on this charge to help change the trajectory of kidney disease, to make these changes, to shine a light on some of these causes. It's not just for my husband. It's not just for people in here in America. It's for people around the world. So I will share one thing with you, because this March is also Kidney Disease Awareness Month. And this came as a surprise to me, so it may for you as well. Diabetes and high blood pressure are the 2 leading causes. And now it's estimated that 850 million people around the world have kidney disease. Again, 90% don't know it. And that 850 million is nearly double the number of people with diabetes. So I just had to throw that in as some awareness to help empower you today as well. And again, just such a pleasure being here with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe Roxanne has not spoken, correct?
I'm just listening in, but I can't speak. I'm in the group coming up, but my name is Roxanne Durhaj. I'm a psychotherapist, and I'm.
I hear Roxanne. I can't hear.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that all right? Should I just continue? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm based out of Niagara Falls, Canada. So my background is I've been a psychotherapist for 30 years, and I now speak on mental health at home and at work. So I've written a book, and one of my specialties is trauma and the impact on relationships. That's the first book. And the second one is just on leadership. And really, truly what I've recognized that, I started in the field quite a long time ago, is that in fact, once we're connected to ourselves, we're able to come from a different space. Unfortunately, with the trajectory of trauma, what happens is that gets disrupted, and the pain that gets created impacts the capacity to really get connected to who you really are. So what I do in coaching and also training is to really speak to that authenticity that is within all of us. We're born with it. Unfortunately, what happens is as time goes along, there's things that happen in our life, and unfortunately, sometimes the pain gets bigger, and that defines who we become. And so I've been fortunate to be doing this kind of work for a long time, and to continue to make the difference with helping people reprocess versus relive it in order to maximize their ability to be authentically connected to themselves.
And welcome back, Aparna. Will you introduce yourself?
Thank you so much. I think I'm always, wary of technology because more often than not, I seem to get bumped off platforms. So thank you for welcoming me back.
Aparna, you need to introduce. Everyone else is done. We're waiting for you to do your introduction.
I'm sorry, I was making you guys wait, but my name is Dr. Aparna Santhanam. I'm a dermatologist by profession, also a published writer and a podcaster with Suchitra, who spoke a little bit earlier. We run a podcast called Spill the Tea Doc, where we examine issues all related to women's health, but from a societal perspective and also from the lens of how to smash the institutions of patriarchy, especially coming from a country like India. One of the things that I really believe in is mindfulness, because I find that living in the now and living in the moment, especially over the last 2 decades of my practice and, having a child and having gone through everything that I did in life, I find that living in the moment and enjoying everything that I can in the moment and realizing my potential there seems to be what really takes me forward in terms of my purposiveness. I also believe a lot in openness, because I'm a trained dermatologist, trained in the practice of allopathy, which is Western medicine. But I come from India, where I've been practicing yoga for the last 2 decades, and I still believe that I'm a student of yoga. And also we have a traditional system of medicine called Ayurveda, which truly interests me because of its ancient origins. So I believe that in healing and in wellness, just synchronizing everything that we are and that we learn actually takes us and makes us better healers than just sticking to one form of medicine the way we understand or believe it. I absolutely love cooking as well. And like someone else mentioned earlier, I believe there's a healing power to food. I love combining traditional remedies, my knowledge of modern medicine, my belief in the power of women coming together. And I use all of this to try and heal myself and heal the patients I work with and everyone else around me. And it's a delight to be on this platform with so many wonderful women.
Ida, I think you're muted.
Sorry, I think Ida's dropped off again. So maybe it's either Ida or me on this platform. I'm getting a bit confused.
I was going to say, I just want to give us love that we are like handling this like a boss. And Ida, we're trying to support Ida. I know that her network is in and out and that she's back, but I wanted to ask if we could move on to one of the questions that she gave us of like, what, one practical thing that we're doing every single day as well as maybe touching on the other subject of like, what does it mean to be a divine feminine, a divine woman? So wanted to offer that.
Thank you so much, Lauren. And so I'm so sorry. Like what happened earlier was that I unmuted myself, and then I was still unmuted in the screen here. So that was a little technical hiccups today. But as you said, like, well, everyone is handling this with so much compassion and support. It's just that in itself is divinity, right? It's like, wow. So yeah, there was a couple of questions, but before we unpack that, was like, did you have anyone, or have you talked about well-being as a word? What does it really mean? Is there anyone that would like to take a stab on that, and then move over to like actual practical stuff that you do? So try to take it in that direction. If everyone want to start, yeah, Lauren.
I'll start. Thank you. I love this question. As someone who's studied positive psychology, I like to think of the spectrum of like disease, dis-ease, and then like flourishing and thriving. And I think that those are some really big buzzwords. And it's why I named my podcast Thrive and Thread, because I think that is the goal of our life, is to thrive and not just survive. And to me, it's like old ways was like just preventing disease, or like giving, giving remedies for the symptoms that we're feeling, or being in reaction mode of when I feel something in my body, then I go to the doctor. Rather now, where I feel like a lot of us are in the season of preventative care. How can I cultivate a lifestyle that's sustainable and in alignment, not just with what society says, right, but with how my body works? I have polycystic ovarian syndrome. So what's healthy for me is not going to be healthy for someone who doesn't have that. The hardcore working out does not do well for someone like me who has adrenal fatigue. And knowing that my personal cravings is going to look different from the person next to me as well. So for me, well-being in alignment with my mind, my heart, my body, how it functions, and feeling good about what I do rather than a punishment just to maintain health. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I love that. Anyone else I want to share something? Or if not, I'm going to just point people out.
Aparna does. Aparna wants to say something.
Aparna.
Yeah, I completely agree with Lauren. I think to me, well-being is when you're completely centered in your physical, your mental, and your spiritual body. Very often, as a doctor and as someone who treats patients, you tend to look at the whole framework of health as just symptom, cure, and prevention. Those are the 3 big buckets that you look at it. But I think well-being goes even beyond prevention and cure or treatment. It's basically waking up every morning feeling that I've rested well, and that my mind, body, soul, and spirit are in sync with each other. And I can take on the day to achieve my true purposiveness and my potential. And I think that's what both as doctors, healers, and patients, if we all work towards that, I think then the frame of well-being is easier to attain.
Thank you. I'd love to add something.
Yeah, go.
I feel like it connects from what Lauren said and what Aparna just shared. From what I've learned in my yoga practices and in my own spiritual self-care practice, there's 5 or more layers of the self, and I see them as all piled up one on top of the other. And so if you see it like as a huge triangle, there's smaller triangles, and the small one is on top of the second one. Okay, so imagine that the small triangle is body, and then the second layer, the second triangle underneath the body, is the mind. And then underneath that is the emotions. And then underneath that is the energy that it runs through us. And then behind that is our soul. And often what happens when we only work on the, what we were saying, how, we will go for the symptom, which is the body, the first layer, but we forget all of these other layers underneath. And most often the fear that we live, that we experience as humans, as humans, is at that same layer of the body. And so we let fear drive our life. We let fear run respond and how we act, instead of leaning back, letting go, and accessing that deeper layer of our soul who is in line with a higher vibrational energy of positivity, of gratitude, of love, of trust. And oftentimes when we can move fear out of the way, even just be alongside us, we just feel much better in our body and we heal ourselves in that way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I have something to add to that as well. You know, I think sometimes when we think of well-being, I think a lot of it's the act of being better for our future selves. So sometimes we get so lost in having to do every portion of health perfectly to be healthy or well, or following that well-being approach. But really, I mean, some of us can't take that all on, but if we can start in one simple step and make that step forward, I think that's really where well-being kind of sits at that core, is making a better choice in today for our future self.
Yeah, Josie, did you want to say something? Please don't move.
I just wanted to add, thank you for everything that has been shared. One thing that I know that for me, I need to want to focus on more and talk to my clients about, that is also, I know we talk about the physical self a lot, but also we don't talk a lot about the emotional self. How do we want to navigate? What are the feelings that we want to have on a day-to-day basis? I feel that we have been socialized in the past decades to not be in tune with our divine feminine, with that emotional self. We are very disconnected with that emotional self because it's looked down upon. You're not supposed to be emotional. You're not supposed to be in tune with your emotion. You're supposed to just act. Our masculine energy is very much needed. Absolutely, is what pushes us and gets us things done. But we need to be able to balance it out with our feminine energy and our emotional energy, and really start on a daily basis or being in tune with emotional well-being as well. Because at the end of the day, at least is what I experience in my consults and with my clients, emotions a lot of the times is what's driving a lot of our actions. We don't know it consciously, we don't know it, but it's subconsciously, these emotions around fear, shame, and other emotions that we have underneath are what are driving a lot of the actions that sometimes we don't want to have, or maybe it gets us stuck in these patterns. But not focusing, or at least putting some effort in our emotional well-being, it's something that I think should be seen, looked on, and done more often.
To add one thing to just follow on what Lauren and Aparna and Laura and Jersey and Claudia have said, which is what happens when you're in that state of alignment, right? What happens when those triangles align, or when the koshas align? And what is it that happens when we're taking care of these, when we're doing that step to take care of our physical body and our emotional body, when we're moving through the fear, is, in my experience, when you're in that state of well-being, like, it's so beautiful. Everything just feels really effortless. There's almost a sense of flowering, of flowing. It's kind of like the nectar just happens. And what's so beautiful about that is it leads to more of it, right? Because you're in this place of life being effortless, and then things just happen. You're able to do that letting go, that going with the flow piece. But you're not really doing it. It's just kind of happening. And that kind of leads to even more of it. And it's so delightful to be in that space. And I think that's, a helpful thing to keep in mind, because sometimes when we're facing the fear, or when we're facing the pain, or when we're facing the distraction or the habits in our mind, we need that motivation, that goal, that reminder of, oh my God, why am I going to even bother taking this first step down the path of well-being? And I think for me, like, that reminder of, oh my goodness, life can be like a river flowing downstream, and I don't need to fight or work or put effort. Like, that is that motivation for me.
Yeah, very well kind of connected and round up together for this question on what is well-being. And well-being is looking at ourselves, both our physical, spiritual body and our emotions, and then see how, that, well, I guess also self-love, self-awareness have ripple effects on like how we will generate more self-love, more like contentment, more alignment. And that is also something that is shared, and I feel very strongly in this conversation, it's shared between all of us, even though we are, not energetically together. It shows in everyone's faces and smiles and nods. So I think it's absolutely there between us, and that's the way forward, that collaboration, those relationships amongst us. So to move on a little bit from this, what if anyone want to start, feel free to unmute. Maybe like more practical, on the practical side, what type of practices do you use daily, or if there's some advice you will give the people who are listening for how to find that place of rest or letting go or stillness, or, that river of more love. Anyone want to start? And also, just before we start, like, I want to be mindful of time. It's like 8 minutes until we are on the hour. We can keep this room longer if we want to, but anyone who wants and has something else to do, please just wave or say goodbye. And if anyone wants to stay on, please do that, and then we can round up conversation when the time is right.
Ida, I wondered if I can share something. I think what's important.
Go ahead first. For me, with one simple thing to do when it comes to finding that flow or that peacefulness is to lean back on what you already know and what you already do. I know a lot of times I speak in manufacturing about mindfulness and meditation, and that kind of turns them off. But when we talk about maybe going fishing or hiking or a ride in a car, suddenly now they are, they're more attentive. They're ready to listen. And I think a lot of times we already have that approach. We just don't utilize it to its full potential. So many people go fishing and hiking, but they don't utilize that as time to really connect with themselves, connect with nature, and just be present in the moment.
I totally agree with what you just shared, Laura. That's so profound. I run this show called The World Tour of Meditation, and I speak to people from all around the world about what meditation is, because I think a lot of people have this notion that meditation is sitting down, closing your eyes and breathing, but it's not. It's fishing, it's dancing. Heck, meditation can be punching a pillow. It can be shouting. Like anything that gets you in the present moment is a form of meditation. And so there's a billion practices. Maybe I'll circle back and share one in a bit.
I love that. It's also about maybe a little bit about demystifying meditation, and also as your point, Laura, like with food, it's just make it simple. It's there all the time, and it is within us, and it's like that connection, as you say, connection to nature. And often I say connect to nature, but that also means yourself, not only like nature out there, but we are part of that nature. And from that place, we see and feel the beauty, and then recognize ourselves, and we like kind of align and connect, and we become one. So wonderful. Ida, you've been awfully quiet there. I know you have so much beautiful thoughts about this and practices in your daily life.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we all have right now practices of meditation and mindfulness and all that stuff. Lately, I am doing a lot of playing with colors. That also is very good to me these days to ground myself. And also I'm listening to a lot of channelings and all these, audio books or books on the side, and it just keeps me in the moment to learn and to grow. And other than that, cooking is a wonderful exercise that I'm using. Anything that we are mindfully doing, I think, is the thing. I mean, that we bring our mind to the present and we're engaged. Especially nowadays, we're in our houses, how we are engaged with the people in our houses and our kids and our people in the house that we live with. I think being mindful about that, being present about that and also observing. I mean, I use observing a lot of my thought process. What is emerging? Is it me? Is it the thought pattern that is coming up? That is the tool that I use the most often. Thank you, Ida.
Wonderful way to look at it. Like everything that we're mindful of doing, it's about that awareness, that focus. Anyone else that want to kind of share something? Jersey, please go ahead.
Thank you for opening up for me. So one thing that I recommend to clients all the time is to create a toolbox or just a list. What are the things that ground you? What are the things that lift you up? What are the things that resource you, basically, that fill you up? So making sure that because everybody's different on what resources them and what makes them, it grounds them and makes them happy. One thing that I've been doing as well, I do EFT, which is emotional freedom techniques. I don't know if you have heard of it. I see some hands tapping. So you can look more information in the interwebs. It's everywhere, but it's a great way to help center myself and also deal with some of the emotions that I might not consciously be noticing that are coming up, that are present. What tapping has helped me is to bring up the unconscious emotions that I've been kind of weighing down and putting down and not regarding or acknowledging. And when I tap, they come up, I release them, and I'm able to feel more centered and more, let's say, focused for the day. So that's been a great tool for me, tapping or EFT, emotional freedom techniques.
One tool that I use a lot that I learned, like it's yoga nidra. I think for the last year, is anyone like familiar with that practice? The last year I've been doing it 3-4 times a week, and when I had this experience, it was like my brain just opened up, like my connection, my physical brain just like kind of relaxed, and I felt it in the second that it happened. Like for example, your facial muscles can also relax when you get more, when you are in that nervous system. That's really one practice that I personally think is can help us really profoundly get in touch with that unconsciousness and unpack it and let it go for us. So that's one of my favorites, actually. Shishtra, did you unmute? Do you want to share something?
I thought Aparna wanted to say something. Aparna, did you have your hand up?
No, I just wanted to share a practice that I do every day to keep myself grounded and for mindfulness, which is as soon as I wake up in the morning and I've had my morning cup of tea, I do a little bit of journaling. So I just write down something for the first 5 to 10 minutes. It's not like a planned article or a planned, something that I want to put out because I do a lot of writing otherwise. But this is just random thoughts which you write down that come into your mind. Maybe just something that you expect from the day, or you wake up sometimes, you feel like a dream that you've dreamt is still there with you, and then you just put it down. And one of the things that I found is that there's a profoundness to reading this back even after a couple of days, because you've just written down random things without thinking too much about it or without analyzing what you're writing. And sometimes you find that a lot of your own truths come out of those random thoughts that you've put down. So it's something that I recommend again to people who come to me who say they find meditation difficult, or they say when they close their eyes, their thoughts are so jumbled that they can't focus on their breathing. Then just writing down for 5 to 10 minutes your random thoughts somehow seems to ground you a little bit better into what you want to do.
I'd love to follow up after Aparna, because I literally was going to say journaling, and even getting out of the idea that we think it's a diary, but really like writing for healing, and how, mindfulness or meditation is great. Like I definitely practice meditation daily. I think the commonality of mindfulness is definitely the big theme here. But with writing, it's about actually seeing you can't do that when you're thinking about things. You can't go back and like remember what you thought about 5 days ago. And so how writing is, you become your own historian, you become your own archivist. And don't you want to document your life, right? Beyond Instagram, beyond quick posting. And the great thing about it is that it's in your handwriting, and you can almost see and feel the emotion when you're like, when I have lost my temper, I pulled out a journal and I literally got this aggression out of my body, and it saved me from saying something that I was going to regret. And just how tracking how did I feel today? How's my body? How's my mind? Am I in a bad mood? Why am I in a bad mood? And just even taking the time to pause and ask myself those questions can save relationships, so that we're not projecting our own insecurities and fears and unresolved pain on other people, and viewing it as a creative act. Since I've been journaling daily, I am writing the most that I've ever written. I'm committing to 1 blog post a week this month, and taking care of myself through the creative self-expression. Those are my 2 cents.
Lauren, I would like to say, I'm sorry, Annalyn, 2 seconds. It's just that what you said resonated with me a lot, because during the time that I was going through panic attack, just like many of us do from time to time in life, it helped me a lot to write, because it brought me to the present moment to be able to observe myself. And, I was me who's going through that thing, and there was another me who was observing the body that is going through that thing. So I highly recommend in that instance as well to bring ourselves into the present moment, to become an observer. Thank you for that reminder. Thank you.
I love you for sharing. So let's go like this. I know that Annalyn, Suchitra, and Trinette, all of you kind of unmuted or something happened there. So if you want to speak, should we just try to take that round, and then also see if we can wrap up a little bit? I know we're 4 minutes over the hour. So Annalyn, if you want to start, and then Trinette, and then Suchitra.
Sure, thank you. I was just going to say how important it is to walk in faith and not fear. So regardless of what may come up unexpected throughout our day or week, or anything that comes up, to continue to walk in that faith. So I think with everything that was even just said here, that you can, if you hit a point where fear does start to creep up, maybe go back to some of the journaling that you've done, or take a moment just to breathe, stop, because I think so often I know I've noticed it sometimes too, of catching your breath and just remembering to breathe. So I think taking the practices with yoga and all of those tools that we have in our tool belt to help, but at the end of the day, just remembering that faith and just continuing to step forward, just continue to move. All you have to worry about is 1 foot in front of the other, 1 day at a time. We've got the tools that we've all been working, developing our practices and building ourselves, to remember those things in those moments of fear and keep moving in faith.
Ned, do you want to share something?
Yes, I did, very quickly, and how perfect the timing after Annalyn spoke, because one of the things I do every day is I do devotion and prayer, and that is something that grounds me. It's a focal point, right? It centers me, it slows me down, it puts me in a mindset of gratitude. And it is something that allows me to walk in powerfully, walking knowing that this is a day that has been gifted to me and that all shall be well, because the one who I believe in, will do his thing. And so that is something that I do every day. The other thing that I want to share is that getting sleep is most important to me. We're in the U.S. and we are around the team no sleep culture, but that is not anything that I embrace, because sleeping and getting adequate rest is how you're able to have clarity. It is how you're able to stay creative. It is how you're able to start your day and not be so crabby, like so many people do who are rushing to do so many different things. I really honor my rest. I say no to anything outside of my boundaries. And I am very, very cognizant of what I do and how I say things, because protecting my space is very important. And I want to make sure that when I am sharing and giving to other people, it's always from a place of overflow, so that I'm constantly refilling myself and having quiet time because I feel that that is very important to me, and it allows what I need to do. So I just wanted to share that. That is an everyday without.
I 100% agree, and I'm 100% the same. Like, sleep for me is so important. I'm also kind of a bit of an introvert, so that also means that I need to, have healthy boundaries, and then having that for yourself, and from that place come from love and a full cup. It's really crucial for being part of sharing and having positive impact in this world. So thank you so much for reminding us, Renette, about that. So Shitra, I know that you were waiting, and then I saw Anna, and you also unmuted, but let's have Shitra.
Thank you so much. I actually want to really appreciate what Renette said. I think every single word of it resonated with me. Setting boundaries, having quiet time. Because I think for me, I tend to be a fairly disciplined person. So I have a to-do list, and then I have my time set out. That helps me to not get overwhelmed, and easier to say no to things, and, not be crabby, as you said quite rightly. What I wanted to share was, this is something, again, which I have learned over the decades, is that we are often kinder and more generous to other people than we are to ourselves. So, if you had a best friend who was going through the same situation, you would be much faster to appreciate, to support, to say, okay, this is a toxic situation, learn to say no, get more rest. So I think it's important for us to be our own best friends. And also to recognize that change is very unsettling as well as threatening for other people around us. Because as you change the dynamics of the relationship. Sometimes you change the power of the relationships, and that scares other people, and they don't want you to change. So sometimes one needs to think of oneself as kind of an upgrade, So now I'm in my 5th decade, so I like to think of myself as Suchitra 5.0. So it's the same me, but I'm a kind of an upgrade. I've sort of changed 5 times over, with every decade. I'm becoming something new, something different, hopefully something better and wiser. So that it's easier for people to appreciate the fact that you are now a very different person they have to deal with. Although Aparna will kind of disagree a little bit, because we've known each other for 35 years. We were in school together, and we reconnected, and it was like carrying on a conversation from like yesterday. So some parts of you will remain, but I think I'm hopeful that one keeps changing and evolving. So I think for me, that is the connection with our, the divine feminine, and how we gain more power within ourselves. Thank you so much.
I love that, and I felt that like transformation, like even like going to be vegetarian. Like there's so many things. Like I remember my father, when I came home, he was like, "But what am I going to cook for you now?" And he figured it out, right? But I think as long as you carry that change and that transformation, and people see that it comes from a place of love and kindness to yourself, people will connect and understand, and they will accommodate you. And if they don't, well, they don't. And then it's time to let go. Annalyn, did you want to share something? And then I feel like we can round up, and we will also connect for sure. I know that in other platforms.
Yes, I do hope we can stay connected. I was just really, coming into agreement with Trinette and everything she was saying there. So this has just been a beautiful time. I put some information here of how to stay in contact. And then also I am offering a virtual experience to watch my documentary, A Dance with Destiny, for free. I'm sharing that with the world for free this month. And so kind of shared some information to stay connected. But I do hope, Ida, that maybe there can be a way to share out with everyone's contact information that was part of this panel, because everyone was just so wonderful, and it would be great to keep that global connection. So thank you.
I 100% agree. I really love, even of the hiccups and the technology hiccups, just how people handled it, how everyone came from a place of understanding and connection and love and support. It was just, and it's looking at all your smiling faces and all the wisdom, divine wisdom shared this last hour. It's truly magical, and I'm so humble and grateful for being part of this amazing group of women.
Hi, Ida. Thank you so much. I think I speak for all of us when we say it was really a wonderfully enriching session, but also connecting with everyone and even across the screen, feeling like soul sisters. I think that's something that doesn't happen often. So thank you, everyone.
Agreed.
Soul sisters.
Thank you.
Yeah, much
Thank
love.
you so much. Y'all
Bye.
amazing.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.